He's a very articulate ex-military, ex-SAS, Special Forces. He basically was a good guy who's gone bad. He's now out for himself. He's not out for anything but himself. He's incredibly intelligent. He's very precise when he's in his execution of anything. He's always one step ahead of them in the film, in the storyline, and I think it frustrates the whole team as to why he always gets away just before they catch him. And there's a fantastic unveiling of why that happens later on in the film, which we won't talk about right now. But he's trained in the arts, the martial arts, and so he uses a lot of forms of fighting that the other guys who are essentially street fighters, what they do is they've learned from the street. He uses his mastery in those sort of art forms, and so he becomes a physical threat to even the bigger guys in the film because of what he uses and how he uses them. That scene at the Battersea Power Station between Dom and Shaw, he talks about that fact that there is Dom's biggest weakness is his loyalty, you know, and I'm very aware that loyalty makes you vulnerable, and if you're vulnerable then you become predictable. And I'm basically giving him in that scene the reasons why I'm always one step ahead of you and that I could break him at any point. You know, there are so many, I mean, everybody wants to be loyal and have integrity, but in this business, and what Shaw sees in Dom is that he has a huge amount of respect for this man. He knows where he's come from this street kid in East LA to heisting $100 million in Rio. He sees it, he knows everything about this man. And he has respect, and there is a mutual respect to a certain level. And so that's why he's so honest with him at that point in the film, because he realizes, you know, this is what separates you from me, and this is why I always will have the upper hand, because you will never be able to forget that you have this family and this loyalty, whereas I couldn't give a damn about any of mine. The flip car is incredible. What I think is even more incredible is that car was designed in Justin's imagination, and he basically described it, and I'm sure he drew it out in a very primitive form and gave it to Dennis McCarthy, who basically was able to create this car. And it's sort of roughly based on a Formula One car, so it's very low to the ground. It has a very sort of wedge shape, huge tires, 480 brake horsepower, I think, 8 exhausts, the noisiest thing I've ever heard in my life, and fast and incredibly powerful. And this car was designed, I mean, the title flip car obviously gives it away slightly, but it basically can drive up to a car, or a car's driving towards it and the car will flip off the road. And basically, this car, they built one and it worked. It does everything it said on the tin, which is, I mean, it's extraordinary. I mean, there's no faking going on here. It actually does what it says on the tin, and I've seen it in action, and I've also been lucky enough to drive it, and it's amazing. It's amazing.